Okay, good day, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn, the Active Trend Trader. Welcome to today's session on the radar live market updates. It is March 24th. Way past the Ides of March, of course. What are we looking at happening over the next couple of days? Well, one, the market's a little bit mixed. The Dow, well, actually, Dow finished down, just going into the very close, which is, hey, one of those things. The other indexes also did finish down. And there we go. And so I'll be online and viewing everything, both on Instagram. I want to welcome you. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get in and take a look at what's going on. I want to start with basically saying aloha and good afternoon. Glad you're joining us for this session this afternoon. The major tip that I want to share with everybody today is quite simple. Is one, don't argue with the trend. That is a losing argument that traders throughout history have tried to make that argument, and guess what? They typically always lose that argument. So go with the trend, watch the trend, and we'll, and then work at it from there. So with that being said, let's pop over here to the S&P. What is the S&P telling us? I'm going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to basically redraw the Fibonacci's here to follow this back, this uptrend that just took place. We're getting a pull back into a level. So let's go ahead and jump out of that. Jump out of this fib here. There we go. And let's draw in another Fibonacci just to see what is in fact going on. If you are joining us live, I want to say thank you for being here. If you do have a stock you want us to take a look at, you want me to take a look at, just put a note in the comment to say, hey, Dennis, take a look at this stock, and we'll see if it warrants being on the radar. So let's take a look at what's happening. As we highlighted yesterday, we drew this line right there. So you can see, we drew that line in yesterday. We said if price action gets back up into that area, that may be a great place to potentially go short. It did get up. Matter of fact, it overshot that, but then comes ripping back down through it. And I don't do a lot of day trading. It just doesn't fit my personality style. And so that would have been a tough one to get a hold of, to be able to take a trade right there at the midsection, because this morning it was up significantly, and so it opened up and dropped down. If you happen to be watching the market during that first half hour of the day, first hour of the day, and it does something like that, and you expect it to, it's doing exactly, the price action is doing exactly what you would expect when the market is in a downtrend. It basically went up and then sells off through the rest of the day. That's exactly what's happening. PSI pointed down. That's on the daily chart. We have not taken out that swing low there. And so we only have part of the story in. We have a swing high right there, which actually is a lower swing high. And so we have a lower high, take out this low, we'll have a lower low in place. And I would anticipate probably a good pullback into the 50 and or even the 618, because we may overshoot. Whenever I look for something like that, where I see the Fibonacci's, I always look to the left. Is there some congestion? Is there other price action that warrants that being a level of support? And sure enough, as you look right there, we see the top of that body there at 384.64. And what is the 50-day moving average, or 50% retracement of the Fibonacci? It will give it to me. There we go. It's 385. What about down here at the 618? 618 is popping out at about 81.90, 381.90. Again, That's where we basically came back, tested, and popped higher. So those are pretty sound levels of support, and so I would anticipate a drop on down to one of those two levels. And then once it gets to those levels, what are we looking for? We're looking for a reversal with a move higher. And that's one of the things that I was talking about. Don't mess with the trend. Here's the rest of today's tip: is when we have a situation where the price action is heading down, and it hits a level of what we believe is support. Don't necessarily I don't take the trade off the first hit off of that support level. I want it to test the support, which means I want it to go back up, come back down, and approach the level of support, and then bounce higher from there. That's the first thing I'm looking for. Number two, the second thing I'm looking for is, do I have a reversal candle? Now, a reversal candle is either a, do I have a bullish engulfing? Do I have a hammer? Do I have a bullish harami? One of those elements is considered a bullish reversal signal. I will also go to my other time frames. Like a candlestick reversal may not show up on the daily chart. However, if I go to the half hour, the chart, one may show up there. So, I'm looking for that reversal signal. Then last but not least, I'm waiting for the TSI, or whatever you use for a momentum indicator. I'm looking for the momentum indicator to reverse and turn back up. Now, oftentimes, it's one of the reasons why I like using the TSI is that it puts in really good patterns of its own, which helps time up when it's time to get back into a position. I have a lot of people ask me about the TSI that I use. Now, the TSI that I say here says shared STTSI. That is a TSI that I actually purchased from John Carter, and it is a proprietary type. I cannot share that with anybody. However, you can utilize the TSI that comes with the Thinkorswim trading platform. It is basically the same with this, except it just doesn't have the lines and a couple of bells and whistles. But I use you just look for TSI, True Strength Index, and what am I looking for? I'm looking for the 883 exponential. And then if you want to put in these levels here, you can always draw those in on on one of the charts, and it'll transpose. I put a line at the positive 42, the 0 line, and the negative 42. Those are anything above 42 or below a negative 42 is considered either oversold or overbought. So let's see what we've got going here. And again, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. Okay, let's take a look at the Qs. The Qs were acting a little bit stronger yesterday than the other indexes. However, now we've gotten a really nice reversal. As you see, what happened? The Qs came right up into the midsection of yesterday's candle. That would have been a good place to have a trade on. Again, we could be trading either a put to the downside, or we could be doing a call credit spread to the downside. Any of those which would work very well. And that was a nice drop. It dropped, how far did we drop today? About $5 from yesterday's, but the whole range today, which is what I like to take a look at, the range on today's candlestick was $6.95. So that would have been an excellent trade to the downside. Now that we have everything below the 50, that's the other tip for today. When it's below the 50, we want to be very careful, and we apply those other rules or guidelines for when we hit a bottom. But we are below the 50 now, so any type of a bounce back up towards the moving averages, might give us another opportunity to go ahead and get back in the trade. We need to take out this swing low to continue on a downtrend. And then we'll watch what happens down here in this support area to see if we can, in fact, do get another bounce back up. But as you can see, TSI is turning over. What's it looking like on the, and I'll bet you, yeah, on an intraday basis. As you can see, intraday 30-minute chart, TSI is all the way at the bottom. So it's probably not going to go too much further down before it does a reversal. To just, do a little breather reversal back up. And again, I like the middle of today's candlestick up to the 8-day moving average, which is right there about the 316 level. So that's it. Now, what about IWM? We know that IWM got beat up pretty soon. It continues to get beat up. Again, I drew this in for you yesterday, saying if they get back up into that area, that would be a good place to, jump on a bearish trade. And sure enough, it reversed right off that level on the IWM. Now, if you're going to place a trade like that, how would you, what would be your parameters? And one of the parameters is that if you come up and you take the trade there, where do you put your stop? Very important. If it goes above slightly, give it 10, 15 cents above the high of that candle right there, that's where I would place a stop. So just say, hey, I'm out of here. It's not working. And then I could also flip that over and look at, either TZA or TZA to the downside. What did TZA do today? It did something very similar. Nice move down. And this is the inverse leverage ETF. Now pop back up. Excellent looking move. We'll see what transpires from here, because just as, again, we want to, on these big body candles, just look towards the middle of the big body. That's where you can anticipate potential areas of support. And this is also showing, and I'm looking at the middle third. And the bottom of the middle third is about the 36.63 level. Middle third, 37.20, 37.30. So that's what we've got going on with that. Let's take a look at a couple of stocks that are of interest. One, Deere. I'm going to show you a couple of stocks that are holding up well, considering the market is falling out of the sky. So Deere, what's it doing? It's actually just doing another little pullback, like it's done over here. Now it did hit its butt yesterday on the 20-day line, kind of bent it over a little bit. We have the TSI heading down, but it's approaching a level where it may, and again, that's with a may, with quotes around it, may bounce from that support level. This is a very nice reversal pattern, shooting star, and then the next day turns it into a evening star, and continues to fall down right to the 20. Does a little bit of a hiccup. Now it's stuck between the 8 and the 20. Now we take out this low. Where's it likely to go? Well, if we take out the low there, it's probably likely to go down to about the 34. Look to your left. Do we have any support area in there? Yeah, we do. Right about there. So that's where you could draw in a support line and say, okay, this is my line of demarcation. If it gets down approximately there, that's where I want to take a look at this. And that's where you put an alert. Just alert yourself to say, okay. And here's where I throw in my alert. And I'm going to go below. And I got some cool sound effects I use for my alerts. Like, okay, that would be we're hitting a line of support. So I'm going to put in there the charge thing. There we go. What does that sound? What does that sound like? Hold on a second. If I was to put in the and This scares my wife to death when she hears this, because we'll be sitting there and they're going to shut it. Okay, and that means, hey, get ready, pay attention, something good is about to happen. So dear, look for the stocks that are holding up better when the market does decide, hey, I'm ready to go back up, for them to perform better. Next, low. Lows looking kind of interesting. We came in, we did a breakout. Now we've had a 1 shooting star, 2 shooting stars. What is this telling us? It's telling us that there's resistance up here at the 184 level. Let's pop this over to the, yeah, just slightly, and I don't know if it's going to show up. Nope, that's kind of like gets back to its all-time high. So it's running into resistance right there. And this is a weekly chart here. Back to the daily. That is a shooting star. Has not confirmed to the downside. TSI looks like it wants to roll over. And if you're going to do a counter trend trade, which is what this would be, where do you want to target your profits? Matter of fact, I'll be talking about targeting profits tomorrow evening at the Delaware Investor Business Daily meetup group. I'm going to be talking about how to utilize, how to plan for wealth, building wealth through trading. There's some things with that a lot of traders don't take into consideration in building wealth. So I'd be looking for a pullback where? Down into these levels here. This is another one of those areas where you want to go at it, and you could jump on a couple of different fibs there. You could jump on the fib here from that swing low. Here's a first fib you could check on. And then go ahead and pop up the. There we go. So you got one fib here. And that shows you a 50% retrace or 618 retracement right there. Would need to be down about the 176 level. Is there support there? Yes, there is. The other one would be go down here and jump from these hot lows there, back up to the high, same high, and watch what that one does. Let's get rid of that. There we go. And there's a larger time frame. Again, look to your left. Is it identifying levels of past support? It sure is. It's doing a really good job, except for the 50. But the 618, the 38, and the 23. So that's another way to take a look at it and say, okay, and plan your potential trades around those areas of, that line of demarcation. MasterCard was looking really good, doing a similar type pattern now. MasterCard kind of goes in a boxy kind of pattern. So what do we have? We have it finding support at the 50. It's got about a $40 run back up into the past levels of resistance. It came right up to a 1272 extension. Now it's pulling back to the old breakout level. And we'll wait for a reversal signal, PSI cross. And so right now we don't quite have it. This is not quite a inverted hammer at the end of a downtrend, and that isn't quite a very bullish harami either. But it's holding up better than many of its other entities. And then the piece de resistance. If you don't like Facebook, it may be a time to look at how can I take Facebook to the cleaners. And I'm saying that partly just joking around. Facebook is a very successful company and all that kind of stuff, but it is also flipping back down off of a past high. Let's take a look over here at the weekly real quick. As you see, it popped up above this high. Failed to make this old high back here, so it's reversing and pulling back down. The past high over there. Now, this is still a consolidation pattern. and it's still a very nice consolidation pattern that we want to keep an eye on. But it looks like price actions may pull right back into the middle, into the moving averages. And last but not least, so how do we want to look at playing that? If TSI, if price action gets back up in the middle of what? That big red candle, that would give us an opportunity to either do a call credit spread, a put type, put debit spread, with the anticipation that we're going to basically fall probably down to about the 273 level. That 273 to 275, and maybe just come back and kiss this moving average, this uptrending, downtrending line goodbye, and that happens quite often. It'll come back, it'll touch this, kiss it goodbye, and then it's off to the races again. So again, we can play this either way. So, okay, folks, that's it for today. I have given you basically 4 different stocks that are of interest. One to the downside, 3 that look like they will hold up better than the market's holding up, and we'll just be standing by. The market can respond any way it wants to. We can only control 2 things. We can control when we enter, we can control when we exit, and that's by putting in the conditional orders for our stop loss and our profit targets and our entry. What happens in between those times? The market is in control. So until tomorrow, we will have another session tomorrow. So until tomorrow, I'll just say aloha. God bless everybody.